Well, we've had another full week in the Senate working on financial regulatory reform. Today is Thursday, and the Democrats received the 60 votes needed to invoke cloture, which means we'll go to final passage on this bill either tonight or tomorrow. And by the time this goes up on YouTube, in all probability, the bill will be passed out of the Senate. It's a terrible piece of legislation. I don't care whether you're looking at the regulatory reforms that are proposed to be made in here that don't strike at the heart of Wall Street, but frankly have a much more significant impact on Main Street banks than they do Wall Street. Whether you're looking at the derivatives title, which is far overreaching and grants too much power and authority to the federal government, that's simply not the way that the regulating bodies need to act with respect to the business community in America, or whether you look at the consumer protection side, where once again there's so much in the way of overreaching that we're going to have orthodontists, we're going to have doctors, lawyers, other individuals who charge interest on any open account thrown into the same category as are the Wall Street banks. That's not the type of regulatory reform that I think Georgians nor Americans want. And it's just unfortunate that we've seen the growth in government in a major piece of legislation like this when it simply wasn't called for to solve the problem that caused the financial crisis. Lastly, the two folks who, in my opinion, are two of the primary entities responsible for the financial meltdown are exempt from this bill, and that's Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. These are the two largest purchasers of mortgages in the secondary market, and without reining in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and without giving them putting some restrictions on the blank check that the Treasury Department is now given to these two entities, we are not going to see this financial crisis go away. Next, we're going to be taking up the defense supplemental. I've always been a strong supporter of our troops, and I look forward to engaging in the debate and the dialogue on supporting our men and women who are carrying the fight to the enemy in an unbelievable way in both Iraq and Afghanistan. The situation in Iraq is winding itself down. Very pleased to see the progress that we've made there. Afghanistan's a very tough fight right now, and we Georgians know that ultimately a terrific price will have to be paid and has been paid to see freedom and democracy and safety and security prevail in that country, which will have a direct impact on the safety and security of America. But we're going to be debating this bill, and I'm very hopeful that we'll have what we call a standalone bill, that the Democrats don't load this bill up with all sorts of extraneous expenditures that aren't paid for, so that we can fund our troops, get them the money they need to carry the fight to the enemy. Some of you may have seen press reports in this past week about a Senate Intelligence Committee report that was released where we were very critical of the intelligence community's handling of the Christmas Day bomber, Abdul-Muttalib, as the individual is known as. I was particularly very critical, along with my good friend Senator Richard Burr from North Carolina, about the fact that the National Counterterrorism Center failed to connect the dots. We had the information was shared, but very honestly, they didn't put the dots together before this individual got on the plane, and I think that should have happened. We've got to address this, and we're working with NCTC right now to make sure that they're making the necessary changes to ensure that when we have the information about these bad guys who want to kill and harm Americans, who are seeking to do it whether by airline suicide trips or whether they want to park cars in New York City and attempt to blow up folks, or whatever measure they might use, that we are gathering information in the right way and that we're able to get that information in the hands of the people who are capable of connecting the dots and making sure that we prevent another terrorist attack happening on our own domestic soil.